Okay, so before the video starts, here's a spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen Toy Story 3 The Fossa. I'll be spoiling a bunch of stuff from that movie in this video, and perhaps even stuff from other media in this video, so yeah, spoiler alert. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's go on to the video. Hi there, you guys. This is Jane right here, and I'm doing yet another spoof film review. And this will also be yet another spoof film review about Toy Story, and this will be on the Return of the Fossa's Toy Story 3: The Fossa movie, which he got out like a few days ago. And yeah. And if you guys don't remember, maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, like almost 6 months ago, he got out his first two movies for Toy Story: The Fossa, and yeah, he got out both movies, and both each in their one video, and he was originally not going to do Toy Story 3 The Fossa into a full movie spoof project, but then he changed his mind about that and he decided to do Toy Story 3 The Fossa into a full movie spoof project, and he did an announcement video about it. And yeah, he just finished it up, and like I said, he just got it out like 3 days ago. It did take him a while to get it out. Yeah, it did take him a while to get it out. Yeah, and it should already tell you, since the project's over 3 hours long, like maybe almost twice, like maybe like over twice as long as the original movie itself is. And yeah, it took him a while to get this movie out, but he finally got it out, and I watched through it the whole way through in maybe like 3 sittings, and I finished it up last night. And yeah, now I'm good enough to do this review, and yeah, I'll be reviewing his Toy Story 3 The Fossa movie, like how I reviewed the other two Toy Story The Fossa movies, and like how I will also be reviewing Joseph Creates Content, JCC Studios' upcoming, soon to eventually be complete Toon Story 3 spoof project, even though, but I can't review that at the moment since only the first two parts of that project are out. Whereas the Return of the Fossa's Toy Story 3 movie is now complete, and now it's good enough to review. So yeah, with all this being said, let me just get on to the review. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to start out by going over casting choices, as usual, for the new characters. And yeah, starting out for the casting choice for the older version of Andy. Alright, so if you guys didn't remember, for the younger Andy in this series, the Return of the Fossa had to be Arnold from Hey Arnold. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good casting choice. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best casting choice for Arnold, but still, I think it works well. But I definitely prefer the casting choice he has for older Andy over the casting choice he has for younger Andy. And the casting choice he has for older Andy is Fry from Futurama. And yeah, I like that casting choice. Yeah, I think it's better. I think it's better than how he has Arnold as the younger Andy. I think it's more fitting. And yeah, I probably like Futurama more than Hey Arnold, but they're both really good shows. But yeah, I really like Fry as the older version of Andy. I think it fits well, and I think I probably like it even more than how Mr. Bean fan has him as Woody for his Toy Story spoof series. But I still think that's a really good casting choice too. But I think I like him as the older Andy a bit more. And also continuing on with the casting choice for Molly, the older version of Molly. So if you guys don't remember, in the other two Toy Story The Fossa movies, like for the younger version of Molly, Fossa had to be played by Heather from Peanuts. The little red-haired girl. He had her be the younger version of Molly, but here he has who I think is the main character from the show called Disenchantment. I think it came out a few years ago. And yeah, just so you guys know, yeah, I don't have an opinion on that casting choice because I haven't seen Disenchantment, and I don't really have much interest in watching it. But if I had to watch it, though, I wouldn't mind. But I don't know. And it's definitely not the show. I wouldn't say it's definitely the show. I definitely wouldn't say it's the show that I'm the least interested in checking out, since it is made by the same guy who created The Simpsons and Futurama, and those are both really good shows. But yeah, Disenchantment, I don't have an opinion on this Disenchantment casting choice, but I know the Return of the Fossa loves that show, and I think it's like one of his favorite adult cartoons, and I guess I can see why, since like I just said, it's made by the same guy who did Simpsons and Futurama. But anyway, yeah, this Disenchantment casting choice don't have an opinion on. And yeah, continuing on. Now, next up, the casting choice for Old Buster. There's some live action dog is Buster Old, don't know what that is, but it seems fitting enough. Now continuing on the casting choice for the Trash Man. The Trash Man who takes the trash away, he's listening to music, he's like, bam, 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 bam. Sorry about that, but anyway, for that guy, Fossa had the live action version of Timmy from the live action Fairly Odd Parents movies be the Trash Man. And yeah, I think that's a pretty funny casting choice, though definitely not very fitting. I don't think Timmy really fits the guy that well at all. But still, that's still kind of funny, though. I do remember seeing like one or two of those live action movies on Nickelodeon, when I was little. And yeah, I didn't think they were that bad. Okay, next up, the casting choice for Bonnie. And for Bonnie right here, there's Dee Dee from Dexter's Laboratory as Bonnie. And I think that's a pretty good casting choice. I mean, I think he probably could have went with someone like younger be Bonnie. I think it probably would have been better if he had someone younger be Bonnie, but still, Dee Dee as Bonnie works well, works fine. And yeah, there's also Gwen from Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse movies as Bonnie's mother. Yeah, that's pretty good, but you know, it's kind of like the other way around here, where like with Dee Dee, the casting choice I just went over for Dee Dee, I think it would be better if he had someone younger be Bonnie. Here, I think it would be better if he had someone like, you know, a little older be Bonnie's mother, but still, this casting choice works fine. But yeah, I still think he could have went with someone older. Okay, so now we're getting on to... Let's move on to the daycare toys. And let me start off with this one casting choice, which he had be himself. And that is the Jack-in-the-Box toy, you know, the toy that comes out and says, "New toys!" Yeah, he had that guy be himself, which I found kind of surprising since, you know, since I've seen him criticize other spoof films for having certain characters be themselves. And yeah, I was surprised to see that here. And I mean, it's a really small casting choice, a very small casting choice. But I still think it would have been better if he had an actual character be Jack-in-the-Box, but still, this doesn't matter much, because like I just said, this guy doesn't get that much screen time at all. Next up, okay, now let me go over the casting choice for Lotso. And that is the Ghostface, you know, Scream from the Scream movies as Lotso. What do I think about that? Well, maybe I shouldn't say too much about it, because I don't remember watching that much of the Scream movies. Though I definitely have some experience with Scream. Like, I remember seeing videos of people, like, you know, showing their Scream me's on their Wii when I was little off of YouTube. And, yeah, also, fun fact, guys. Back at the old house where I recorded that one old Wheel of Fortune video I told you guys about, downstairs in the basement in the closet, we used to have like a Scream mask, and I think like a Scream costume. But yeah, we had a Scream mask on there, and yeah, it was a pretty cool and funny mask. Yeah, it was a pretty fun mask to wear. Yeah, that was a good mask. And yeah, and I do find that Scream as Lotso to be kind of funny, probably for that reason. Yeah, I haven't seen the Scream movies, though. I do like the Scream mask. That was a fun mask to wear. Next up is another Dexter's Laboratory casting choice, and that is the mouse version of Dexter as Big Baby. Yeah, that's pretty good. Though I do find this casting choice kind of weird looking at another casting choice that I'll go over later in this review. But yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's another good Dexter's Laboratory casting choice. Although I probably like Dee Dee as Bonnie a bit more than that, though. Next up, you got Sid and Brooke from Ice Age, you know, the Ice Age movies as Barbie and Ken. Yeah, I don't think, it doesn't seem like it's the most fitting casting choice for Ken and Barbie, but still, that's kind of funny, though. That's kind of funny. Still, I do think you probably could have done a better and more fitting job with this casting choice right here, but still, I don't think it's that bad. Next up is Max from Ben 10 as the janitor guy. Yeah, that's a pretty funny casting choice. That's pretty good. And next up is Lucy from the Lego movies as Stretch, that purple octopus chick. That's alright. That's alright, because like I said before, I think the Lego movies are okay. They're not bad. They're nowhere near bad, but they're not great either. But they're good. They're good. Like solid B tier movies for me. They're both good. They're good movies. Now continuing on. Okay. Now for Chunk, for Chunk, you know, that spiky guy who like changes his face by like hitting his head or whatever. For Chunk, he had to be played by Shrek. And of course, as a big Shrek fan, I do love the casting choice. And as for the casting choice for Twitch, he had Twitch be played by Chef, like one of the best characters from Total Drama. And yeah, unlike Blaney, who he had to be one of Sid's toys in Toy Story 1, the Fossa actually got Chef's name right here. Because, you know, if you don't remember, in Toy Story 1, the Fossa, he put Blaney from Total Drama on there, but, you know, he couldn't remember her name, so when he had Tails talk about her, he had him refer to her as this female from Total Drama or something like that. But here, he actually got Chef's name right here, and, you know, he said it, and yeah, he even said his name right once. So, yeah, that's good. Even though, yeah, how hard is it to remember the name Chef? But still, yeah, Shrek is Chunk and Chef is Twitch. They're both small casting choices, but I really like both of them. And, yeah. Always nice to see the return of the Fossa use Total Drama in his spoof cast, since that is a childhood favorite of mine. Now, next up is the casting choice for the Bookworm. And the Bookworm, you got Kevin from Home Alone, another one of the Return of the Fossa's favorite movies, as the Bookworm. Now, I don't think that's a very good casting choice. I don't think Kevin is a very fitting casting choice for the Bookworm. Like, I would say Buzz, like, from Home Alone would be, like, maybe, like, a slightly better casting choice for Kevin, but I don't think Buzz would be that good of a casting choice for Kevin either. But Kevin, I don't think is a very good casting choice for the Bookworm, but it's another really small casting choice. The Bookworm's only in, like, 2 scenes, so, yeah, it doesn't matter much. But, yeah, it's still not a very good casting choice, though. And another casting choice that's not so fitting is the casting choice he did for the symbol banging monkey dude who goes crazy, and who Woody and Slinky sneak up on later in the movie. That casting choice is Dennis from the first SpongeBob SquarePants movie as Monkey. Yeah, that's a casting choice that's also not very good. I think Dennis is like too mature. I mean, Dennis did act a bit crazy in the first SpongeBob movie, but it definitely wasn't like a level of crazy as the monkey did in Toy Story 3. I don't think Dennis is a very good choice for the monkey. I think it would have been better if he had let's say another monkey beat the monkey, how I've had the monkey, the evil monkey in Chris's Closet from Family Guy beat the monkey for my Toy Story spoof cast. And I think he could have done a lot better with this casting choice, though. Though I will still say, though, it's definitely not the worst SpongeBob casting choice I've seen from these spoof casts. That medal still goes to the god-awful casting choice of SpongeBob as Mr. Potato Head. I'll bitch more about that when I review the other Toy Story 3 spoof film I'm supposed to review, though. But Dennis is Banging Monkey. I don't think it's very good. But here's another casting choice that I do think is very good. And this is probably my favorite casting choice out of all the Sunnyside toys. And this casting choice right here is Tom, who has always been my favorite character from the classic Tom and Jerry franchise as Chatter Telephone. Yep, really good. Maybe not the most fitting casting choice for Chatter Telephone, but I still think it's really good. It was nice seeing Tom explain to Tails, how to escape from Sunnyside and... that was really good. It's another small casting choice, but it's still really good. I think it's probably my favorite casting choice out of all the casting choices for the Sunnyside toys. And if it's not that, then I guess it would be one of the ones I went over earlier with Shrek and Chef, even though those are very small casting choices too. But still, most of the Sunnyside toys in Toy Story 3 don't get that much screen time. Yeah, it makes sense. There was a bunch of characters introduced in Toy Story 3. Alright, now let's talk about the casting choices for Bonnie's toys. And honestly, I wasn't too crazy with the casting choice for Bonnie's toys either. They weren't bad, but they were either the majority of them were either all right to me, or don't have too much of an opinion on. And also about the casting choices for Bonnie's toys, something that I found weird is that remember earlier when I was talking about the casting choice with the mouse version of Dexter as Big Baby. Well, right here, for the casting choice, for one of the casting choices for Bonnie's toys, Fossa had the normal version of Dexter be Prickle Pants. Yeah, that's not a bad casting choice or anything like that. Neither of those are bad casting choices. Neither of the casting choices for Dexter are bad. But, I'm just saying, I do find it weird how, one version of Dexter, the normal version of Dexter's Prickle Pants, and, another version of him, a mouse version of him, is, Big Baby. There's two different versions of Dexter's existing in the same universe. Yeah, that is kind of weird. That's kind of weird, but maybe it's not too big of a continuity error. But I think my favorite casting choice out of all these, though, all the casting choices for Bonnie's toys would be how he had Betty from the Flintstones be Dolly. Yeah, that's a good casting choice right there. That's a good casting choice. I don't know. I feel like maybe Wilmer from the Flintstones would be a better casting choice for Dolly, but still. Betty still works probably almost just as well for Dolly. That still works well, and that might be the most fitting casting choice out of all the casting choices for Bonnie's toys. If it's not that, then I guess that medal would go to how he had Branch from the Troll movies be Chuckles. Yeah, but still the casting choices. Generally, the casting choices for Bonnie's toys I wasn't too crazy about, but none of them really pissed me off or anything like that. So yeah, that's good. That's good. Now continuing on to. Now let's go over the casting choice of something from the backstory that Chuckles explained to Woody later on in the movie, and that is the casting choice for Daisy. And for Daisy, Fossa had Chloe from Fairly Odd Parents be Daisy, and that's a pretty good casting choice right there. But I think my favorite casting choice in this Toy Story, the Fossa series, definitely how he had Timmy's dad be Mr. Turner, be Al for his Toy Story 2 movie. Yeah, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny right there. And, does that about cover it for casting choices? Okay, so I think I covered a good chunk of the casting choices. Now I want to go more in depth with, the other parts of the spoof film, the unique ideas he did, some problems I have with it, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so with unique ideas, do you guys remember, when I reviewed his Toy Story 1 movie, how I talked about how I liked it, how he was using footage from JP and Beyond's old live-action Toy Story 1 movie project for like the parts where he was showing footage of the movie, like instead of using footage of the original movie itself, he instead used footage from the that live action version of Toy Story 1. Well, he basically did the same thing right here, and like instead of using footage from the original Toy Story 3 movie itself, he used footage from the the live action Toy Story 3 movie, which came out a few years ago. And yeah, I did like that idea. Although the problem with it though is that I noticed a couple of parts where he did it that there are certain parts where if you look close enough you can see the faces of the characters he didn't have as themselves being left alone like that, and that I didn't like that, though it definitely wasn't as noticeable as when he did it in the Toy Story 1 the Fossa movie. But I still don't like it when spoofs lazily leave alone the footage and lazily show the faces of the characters they don't have as themselves. I really don't like that, but still, it wasn't I probably wouldn't say it was nearly as noticeable how he did it here as it was, how he did it in Toy Story 1, the Fossa movie, and, Though I still liked how he was using footage from that live-action version of Toy Story 3. And, another unique idea that he did was, what he was doing in replacement of, Mrs. Potato Head, losing her eye. And, if you guys don't remember, some of what I said in the other Toy Story, the Fossa review video, he has Flame Princess from Adventure Time be Mrs. Potato Head because he has Finn from Adventure Time be Mr. Potato Head. So, obviously, obviously Flame Princess can't, easily lose her eye like Mrs. Potato Head can in the Toy Story movies. So what does he do in replacement of Mrs. Potato Head losing her eye throughout the movie? Well, first, what he does is have replace the eye with a pair of glasses, and have Flame Princess be like, "Oh, I can't find my pair of glasses." Yeah, there was also at some point in the movie, you remember the scene where Mrs. Potato Head uses the other eye she has to look outside in the hallway, and she says that she sees Andy, and she says she can see through the other eye which she left behind. Well, Fossa had Flame Princess look at what's going on with Andy through a camera recording camera rather than with one of her eyes. Have her look at what's going on with Fry being all upset that he's looking for his toys and he can't find them, and so basically there he replaced Mrs. Potato Head's eye with the camera right there, and have Flame Princess look at a video that was being recorded for a long time through that camera that was in Fry's room and see what was going on. That's a good replacement right there. Honestly, maybe it doesn't make a whole lot of sense right there, especially since doesn't the camera have a battery in it? How could the camera be recording for that long? When the camera die eventually? Was it sitting there on a charger? Is there actual cameras that you can record while having it be plugged into the charger like you can with phones and tablets and that kind of stuff? But still, I thought that was a good replacement though. And even if it doesn't make sense, then I don't blame him right here, because it can be hard to do a proper replacement for that thing Mrs. Potato Head was doing in Toy Story 3, where she was using one of her eyes to see what was going on in Andy's room and all that. And another unique idea they did. Earlier in the movie. Do you remember how I was just talking about how Flame Princess has been talking about how she can't find her glasses? Well, the first scene where she says that, Fossa had better call her out by saying, "Oh, you don't wear glasses," or something like that, and he had Finn tell Bender to shut up. He did that in replacement for when Ham is asked all right, whose foot's in my face, and that's when Mr. Potato Head's foot is detached from him and it's on Ham's face, and that wouldn't make sense for Finn's foot to be detached on the Ham and on the Bender's face like that. So that replacement makes a lot of sense right there. Another unique idea they did regarding Finn was so do you remember that scene later in Toy Story 3 where Mr. Potato Head puts his body into a tortilla and he wears a tortilla? Well, obviously, since Finn's a human boy who can't do that in Adventure Time, he instead had Finn wear the banana suit, the banana costume that he wears in later Adventure Time. And, he did that instead of having him wear a tortilla, because, come on, that wouldn't make sense for Finn to be able to just, put his eyes and his mouth, his arms and legs into a tortilla. How would that make sense? So, instead he had him wear a banana outfit. And, he also did a replacement for later in the movie when Mr. Potato Head, wears that, cucumber or, pickle thing, because, his tortilla disguise messed up because of that damn bird. And that unique idea also led to him having Finn say this at a line right before he takes off the banana costume. I'll have you listen to it.
"I am never, ever, ever being one of the banana in pajamas ever again. Way too preschool friendly."
That's kind of a funny line right there. I wonder if you got the way too preschool friendly part by hearing my opinion on Bluey. And yeah, the added dialogue, like the unique dialogue ideas is cool, but like there's some parts where the unique dialogue ideas don't really make sense. And the best example I can find is this one part that covers the part where Ken defends for Barbie against Lotso as Stretch is trying to push all Woody and the gang into the dumpster. Yeah, okay. Here's what he did right here for the replacement of when Lotso tells Ken that there's $1 million just like there's $1 million just like Barbie and all that. And Ken says in response, "Not to me, there's not." Yeah, here's what he did. Here's what he did for that right here.
She's an ugly sloth, see it? And I don't give a crap about her. Not to me, there's not.
She's an ugly sloth, Sid, and I don't give a crap about her. In response to that, not to me, there's not. What? How the hell does that response make any sense? I think since that you changed the "there's $1 million just like her" line, I think it would have made the most sense to obviously change the "not to me there's not" line. I think it would have made more sense if you had said say, "No, she's not ugly to me. She's beautiful." Yeah, I think that something like that would have made a lot more sense than having him say "not to me there's not." To Scream saying he doesn't give a crap about Brooke. I don't see how that makes sense right there. Yeah, of course, no offense to you, Fossa, but I think you should have thought that part out more before, leaving alone the "not to me, there's not" line. And yeah, getting more into the topic of dialogue. Okay, so what he usually does with his spoof films, instead of playing audio for the movie for when characters say their lines, he instead acts out the dialogue himself. And yeah, and I think that's a really good idea. That's a nice, unique way of doing spoof films. Of course, the problem with that is like with the other two Toy Story, the Fossa movies, and also with his Woody Shrek style movies, I've noticed that there was parts where he couldn't remember a certain line that he was acting out, so he was replacing it some saying some gibberish because he doesn't remember the line that well. And yeah, that's a bit of that's kind of a problem to me too. It's not I wouldn't say it's as much of a problem as that "not to me there's not" problem that I was just talking about. But yeah, that's still a problem right there. And yeah, another problem that I have with this Toy Story 3 the Fossa movie, and this is a problem that I think I forgot to cover in my other Toy Story the Fossa movie review video, but I forgot to. Yeah, I forgot to cover it. And that's the fact that he was pretty lacking in the amount of images and the clips of the characters he was using and all that. Kept using the same clips and pictures over and over again, and it would have been nice to see him use more clips and pictures. But although there were some times where he used different pictures of the characters, and you occasionally use a shot that he doesn't use that much, but still I think it would have been nice to see him use more shots and clips for his project. I think that would be nice to see him use more shots and clips of the characters he uses for his spoof films, for his future spoof films. Another problem I have with this movie of his is that I noticed that there's certain parts, certain small parts that were cut out, certain running parts and certain choreography. And I also noticed that he cut out the part where the big sneezing elephant sneezes out all the stuffing and all that. Now, granted, it's a very small part, a very small part in the Sunnyside introduction, tour scene. But still, I think it would have been nice to have him actually spoof that part where the elephant sneezes and show what casting choice he would have used for that sneezing elephant. That would have been cool to see, but unfortunately we didn't get to see the casting choice for sneezing elephant right here. And yeah, it's not a big problem since it's a very small part in the Sunnyside tour scene, but still, I think it would have been nice to see his casting choice for the sneezing elephant. But yeah, I think that about covers all the problems I had with this Toy Story 3 the Fossa movie of his. The fact that there were certain parts of the dialogue that wasn't acted out justice because he couldn't remember the line very well, and there were being parts where the dialogue doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and the lack of pictures and clips he was using of the characters, and him cutting out certain choreography and that part with the sneezing elephant. But I think that about covers it. Now I want to get more into the idea, the positives, and talk more about the unique ideas that he did for this Toy Story 3 the Fossa movie of his. Now, okay, how could I ignore this? Okay, so for the part where the truckers come and pick up Lotso, and the trucker says that he remembers having one of the Lotso toys when he was a kid, and he sniffs them, smells like strawberries, and he takes them. He puts him on the front of his truck and all that. Okay, so instead of having Scream be picked up by an old owner, he instead had Scream be rightfully arrested for what he did by two cops, and I thought that was pretty funny and pretty cool. I was not expecting that. I was obviously expecting Fossa to just normally do the scene normally with having Scream be picked up by an old owner and a couple of truckers, but no, let's have him rightfully get arrested for all the terrible crap he did. For letting Tails and his friends deal with the fucking the incinerator, even after Tails risked his life. Even after Tails and Top Cat risked their lives to go save his life, despite him being such a big dick. But no, he still abandons Tails at the game and leaves them to die into the incinerator, even though they don't die. But still, he leaves Tails in the game to deal with the incinerator and doesn't even push the button to stop the incinerator, even after they saved his life, despite him being such a dick. Yeah, he so deserves to get arrested. And Lotso being arrested, definitely deserved to get arrested in the Toy Story 3 movie itself, although it makes perfect sense why he wouldn't get arrested in the movie itself. Because, come on, toys don't get arrested. Come on. They're not like human beings. They're not like real people. They can't get arrested. But still, I still really like the idea he did with having Scream get rightfully arrested for what he did right here. That's pretty funny. Sure, it might not make the most sense. It might make less sense than having him just, be picked up by the truckers like what happened to Lotso in the film. But still, I like what he did right there. That's good. Yeah, I also like the music, but I also like the added music he was using and all that. Like like in the other two Toy Story the Fossa movies, there were a few parts where he used a sad song that I really like with Keith Kenneth's fall song, the instrumental fall song, which I really like. And I used that for a few parts in his Toy Story 3 The Fossa project. And he also used some other interesting songs I would like to know the name of, like the song he used at the end of the Toy Story 3 The Fossa movie for when he spoofed the part where Andy and Bonnie play with Andy's toys, and Andy plays with his toys one last time before leaving for college. Yeah, I would like to know the name of the music for that. And then I thought the music of that was really good. Maybe not as good as the fall song that I was just talking about, but still, it's a really good song. And yeah, there were other cool songs. There were other nice instrumental songs that he was playing throughout the whole Toy Story 3 The Fossa movie. And yeah, I can imagine them all being copyright-free songs since he didn't use that much songs from the movie itself. Although I did notice him using the "You've Got a Friend in Me" song that was played at the beginning. That was played at the beginning of the Toy Story 3 movie, and also used the "We Belong Together" for when he was showing the credit scenes, and that that you've got the Spanish version of "You Got a Friend in Me" that plays at the scene where Buzz and Jesse dance at the end credits, and yeah, of course. We all expect him to leave some songs alone. But yeah. Oh yeah, one more problem I have with this Toy Story 3 The Fossa movie is that with the "You've Got a Friend in Me" scene, I've noticed even though there's actual dialogue in that scene, he didn't act out or even play any of the dialogue for that scene. So instead he just kind of left the characters muted, left the dialogue muted. And have the only sound for that "You've Got a Friend in Me" montage just be from the "You've Got a Friend in Me" song itself. And I think it would have been nice to see him hear him act out the dialogue for that scene, or at least have him actually play the dialogue for that song instead of just leaving the characters muted like that. Yeah, it's a small problem, but it's not as big of a problem as some other problems I talked about. It was Toy Story 3 The Fossa movie, but still, I think it would have been nice if there was actual dialogue for that "You've Got a Friend in Me" scene. But yeah, okay, now I think that fully covers all the problems I have with this Toy Story 3 The Fossa movie. So yeah, am I good enough to go in conclusion? Well, there's one more unique idea that he did that I want to cover before jumping into conclusion. So here's another unique idea that he did. Okay, so throughout the Toy Story 3 The Fossa movie, he was also playing audio from these videos that I noticed he made a playlist for maybe a bit ago. And yeah, it's a playlist that has videos that just play the sound effects from the Toy Story movies. And throughout the video, he was using sound effects, using audio from those videos that use sound effects from the Toy Story movies, and he edited them on to the Toy Story 3 The Fossa movie, or when we spoof certain choreographed scenes that don't have much dialogue going on, when the scene where Buzz sneaks up on the Sunnyside Toys, or when Tails is trying to escape, the scene where Woody tries to escape from Sunnyside, and I did like that. That was pretty cool right there. Yeah, but yeah, am I good enough to jump into conclusion? Yeah, I think I am. Okay, so how much do I like the spoof film? Well, I think it's overall a good spoof film, good like it is. I mean, sure, it might not be as good as the original Toy Story 3 movie, and definitely nowhere near as sad as the original Toy Story 3 movie, since I didn't come close to crying at the ending of Toy Story 3 The Fossa. Although Although, honestly, as I was watching the ending to Toy Story 3: The Fossa, I was watching Toy Story 3: The Fossa, and I was getting closer and closer to the ending. I did think about the ending to the original movie, and I choked myself up thinking about the ending to the original movie. Yeah, nowadays I can't watch the ending to the original third movie without crying. Pretty much the only way I can watch the ending to the third movie without crying is through these spoofs, and Toy Story 3: The Fossa is no exception. I'm not saying he did a bad job with the ending, though. No, he did a good job. I don't expect ending, a spoof of a sad ending to be just as sad as it is in the original, after all. But yeah, I think it's a really good. I think it's a really good movie. Yeah, there's some problems with it. And yeah, I wouldn't say it's as good as the original Toy Story 3 movie, but it was still good. I still enjoyed watching it. It was still a nice watch through. It had some casting choices I really liked, but there was also some unfitting casting choices. But thankfully, there weren't any casting choices from any series I don't like or any series I hate. So that's good. So yeah, that means none of that overrated and overused My Little Pony. Yeah. Yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the Toy Story 3: The Fossa movie. I thought it was good. It was a nice watch through. And yeah, there you have it, Fossa. I've reviewed all 3 of your Toy Story: The Fossa movies. And yeah, how would I rate this on a scale of 1 to 10? Maybe like an 8. Maybe like an 8. I think it's a really good film, and I'm sure it'll be better than maybe like at least a little bit better than Joseph's Toon Story 3 movie when that gets finished. And it's definitely better than Rabbit Lover's Toon Story 3 movie, which I reviewed last year. So, the next Toy Story 3, the next spoof film, the next Toy Story 3 movie I plan on reviewing will obviously be Joseph Creates Content Studios' Toy Story 3 spoof film, his Toy Story 3 spoof film. He just needs to finish it up first, and I obviously, need to watch more of it before I do the review. And also, if you guys want to know if there's if the Return of the Fossa will be doing any more Toy Story, any more things for his Toy Story the Fossa series, and if I'm supposed to review any more stuff from his Toy Story the Fossa series. No, I don't think I'm supposed to review anything else from his Toy Story the Fossa series because I think he's done. Yeah, he's done doing Toy Story the Fossa movies. Yeah, he's not gonna do Toy Story 4 the Fossa until a full movie swoop project. I mean, yeah, but not because he doesn't like Toy Story 4 though, no. But he doesn't feel like doing Toy Story 4 the Fossa until a full movie swoop project. Instead, he's gonna do like a cast video for it, and he was also talking about doing clip videos for his favorite scenes in Toy Story 4. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Toy Story 4, but still, the movie itself though is good. It's good. Just like I said many times before on the channel, I think it's poor for Toy Story standards and should not have existed. But still, the movie itself though, it's good. It's good, but not as nearly as good as the other 3 movies. But I'm still looking forward to seeing what Fossa does for his Toy Story 4 the Fossa project, even though it's not going to be a full movie spook project thing. And yeah, he also claimed that he's not going to do a Toy Story, the Toy Story holiday specials for his Toy Story the Fossa series, or I think he also talked about not doing the Toy Story treats and all that. So yeah. At this point, I think I'm done with the Toy Story the Fossa reviews, and I enjoyed doing these reviews. Yep, and yeah, that's about it. So yeah, if you guys want to watch the original Toy Story 3 the Fossa movie, I'll leave a link to it in the description below, along with the Return of the Fossa's channel. And yeah, here's my review for your Toy Story 3 the Fossa movie, Fossa. I hope you like it, and I'd like to see your response to it. And with all this being said, that's it for the review video, you guys. Bye, everyone, and thank you all for watching this video.